Tap, tap, tap. Through the years, when my children were growing up, I frequently told them stories which always began with the words, "A long, long time ago when Daddy was a little boy." The following is one of those classic stories which my children remembered best. I am not sure this story can live up to its billing, but my children sure liked to hear me tell it. A long, long time ago, when Grandpa was a little boy, I started my carpentry career early. The setting was at 1936 East Wood Street in Decatur, Illinois. It may have been about the year 1938 or 1939 when I was 3 or 4 years old. My father was a traveling school book salesman. He called on schools throughout Illinois and Wisconsin. He had been ill, having suffered from gallbladder disease, became jaundiced, and required surgery. Besides, he was becoming very tired in his work. My parents had saved money and bought their first little piece of land, possibly 20 acres, in the early 1930s. When it was paid for, they sold it and bought another property somewhat larger. In the late 1930s, they had sold that small parcel and bought an 80-acre farm north of Maroa, where we moved in the spring of 1940. We had been to that farm one day. I picked up a piece of wood, a chunk possibly cut off from the end of a 6x6, which was about 6 inches long. That evening at home, I got a hammer and some nails, and then started pounding nails into the block of wood while my mother was working in the kitchen. I would pound in 2 or 3 nails, tap, 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 and then I would ask, "Is that enough?" My mother would say, "No, Stanley, you need to put in a few more." Then there would be a tap, 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 and again the question to my mother, "Is that enough?" She would say, "No, Stanley, you better put in a few more nails." Then again there would be tap, 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 and the putting in of more nails. This was repeated until the end of the block was completely filled with nails. I hope your daddy and mommy let you have a board and some nails to practice on. Maybe you will be a carpenter someday. I was only 3 or 4 years old at the time. Using a hammer and nails is not an easy project at that age, but if the nails are put into the cut end of the block with the open grain of the wood, it is very much easier than nailing across the grain. You ought to try it sometime.